Alright, well again, thank you for coming back everybody and checking out this new video where I'm going to be putting in a little more detail in these characters and really adding some more personality, but still showing you step by step on how I approach things. Now, I always encourage you to do things your way. So I hope you take this information and do some practice drawings, make it over and over and over again. I always like to draw things over and over and over again, just so that I learn more. I always learn more if I do something again and again and again. So I hope you enjoy watching. Enjoy.
Alright everybody, well I hope you are healthy and excited to draw today. Before we get started, you always want to make sure that you have your pencil all ready to go, nice and sharpened, as well as your eraser. Remember, that is your friend. Like I introduced in the last video, I talked about giving a nice little warm-up by just scribbling around on your paper, making some shapes, putting them together to see if there's anything that you like and what you may come up with. Again, that's all practice. Now today, I'm going to focus on taking those same three shapes that I've talked about and creating some head shapes. So I know a lot of people like to draw portraits, so I'm going to show you how you can get some different head shapes by these three shapes. The circle I'm going to start off with, I'm combining a couple together and experimenting by sizes and by height, and figuring out what kind of head shapes I can come up with by putting them together. Then comes the triangle, combining different triangle shapes in different directions and making different weird looking head shapes. Now you may be thinking that, alright, this looks really weird, no head is this shape, but I can guarantee you when you're cartooning, you're going to think of some shapes that are very odd looking, and they're not all going to be just circles. They're going to be different shapes. So if you look at cartoons and you like watching cartoons, look at what characters' heads are and what kind of shapes they are. You're going to figure out very easily that they're not all circles. So by my own admission, with these shapes, I'm kind of experimenting, and I'm not gonna know exactly how they're gonna turn out. So I'm just seeing, when I combine these together, which ones appeal to me and what I can use. I may not use all of them, I may use all of them, I really don't know, but as of right now, I'm just kind of figuring out what they may look like by putting in big triangles together with smaller ones. This may turn out to be something that looks completely different than what I'm initially thinking, but that's what I'm going to do when I take these and work on them a little bit in more detail. When I work on this one with the circles, there are three circles that are bigger, are different sizes, so they might not look like very much like Mickey, because those half circles at the top are much smaller than what you think of an iconic Mickey shape. So I'm not going to think of too much of a primary character. These are going to be something that I'm going to want to create of my own. But have fun with these, create different variations. What I do is going to be much different than from what you do. Now I'm going to take that circle shape, and I'm going to make, again, the shape that I did before, but elaborate on it and think of a little more detail. Now there are those ears. I'm going to put in some eyes, and the nose I'm going to think of still that circle shape or oval shape at first. So here's the overall shape of my head. Now when I think about hair, I don't want to do just lines and squiggles around the head. I'm going to think of maybe the shape of the head to put that hair in. So I'm going to put that hair in the shape of the head. If I wanted to change that, I can make the shape of the hair different and put detail like those lines in the head shape, not out of it. Now when I do this second head, I'm going to create those shapes, those circles, a little bit smaller at first. I might change them up a little bit later. But I'm also going to think about the features of the ears. The nose is much smaller, the eyes, and the mouth, especially those lips in there, since I'm going to make this a female character. Now, when I start putting in the hair, again, I want to keep inside that oval shape, right? And put those lines in there afterwards. And if I want to make those top circular shapes bigger, then I can always erase them and make them bigger. Remember when I had those lines in for the hair, they're not going to be individual lines kind of going out of the head shape. They're going to stay within that oval shape. If I want to add bangs, I can add a combination of a square and a circle and make those bangs. So I'm going to explore a little bit more with a combination of ovals and create a couple different characters that have various different personalities. And just by a combination of those ovals, I can make something that's completely different. And so I want you to explore by stretching out these circles, overlapping them to see what you come out with. And I want you to just do as many as you want. Don't think of just 5, 3, 6. Do as many as you like and see what you can come up with. And that's up to you. As much or as less detail as you want, but just explore. So for the next shape exploration, I'm going to do triangles. I'm going to go by the original first ideas I drew out, but I might change them up. I'm going to put ears as triangles to the side of this character's head, and I'm going to put triangles for the eyes and the nose. Stick to the shapes. Now I put in the hair is going to stick inside the head shape. And watch as I do this, when I separate the head from the hair. And if I put that hair shape in, put some lines in, if I want to erase the top of that hair shape, then I can erase it and make it look a little more natural. But still thinking about a triangle for the hair, not think of lines coming out from the top of the head. So that's just an exploration of the character. I'm going to do another one based off the first one of the ideas I had in the very beginning. Now I'm going to still think of triangles, and if I want to stick another one and that bigger one, I can, but I like to think of one sticking out because I'm starting an idea of what I could do. And this is by exploration of shapes. Now what could those top 2 triangles be? I'm thinking it could be a bow, maybe coming out of the hair of somebody. I can go back into that triangle shape that points down, put in the details of the nose, the eyes, the mouth, the ears, and again the hair inside that triangle shape, not necessarily going out. So now this is a completely different character exploring those triangle shapes. I can keep on doing that with more, thinking of completely different characters. I'm going to think of a triangle going on top of each other. Think about what kind of characters may be just by exploring these shapes, and I can come out with something completely different. Maybe sort of like samurai character using these triangular shapes. Next one, I'm thinking of maybe again the Asian culture. So here's a guy with an Asian hat with some triangular mustache shapes and a triangular beard shape. So the next shape I'm going to be working with is going to be the rectangle. So I'm going to combine a couple together to get a couple new characters, and I'm going to be using just that shape for now. You may be thinking, alright, well how am I going to do this? This looks so weird. Well, I'm going to get an idea of where some of these features are, like the ears, the nose, the eyes, just with these rectangular shapes, and maybe a couple eyebrows in there. I'm going to figure this out. A lot of this is really about experimenting and figuring this out. And it's a lot of fun because you're going to be coming up with some very unique characters that you may not even thought of before. Like right now, I'm thinking about the beard being this really thick beard coming out from both sides of his head, and it's going to be that larger rectangle shape on the bottom. And again, if I have hair at the very bottom of that shape, I'm going to draw them in within that shape of the head and the beard as lines, but I'm going to keep them within that rectangular shape. If I'm going to make that whole shape upside down like a T, then maybe coming up with something completely different. Now, by turning this upside down, I'm going to get an idea of maybe that shape of the ears could turn into thick eyeglasses. That's something completely different. So this is going to be turning out with a whole different character. And I may be changing things up a lot as I do this, and that's fine. The very first thought of this character may not be what you originally thought about, and that's, again, just fine. This is going to be turning out like maybe a nun. And this is just by making some new rectangular shapes around with what I already have and combining them together to create something completely new. So I'm going to think about big rectangles, small rectangles to see what I can get. Other ones within the shape that I'm going to create as features of these characters. And again, think of something that I come up with. Do as many of these as you can. I'm going to make some curly hair within the shape of the rectangle. Within a completely different rectangular shape that may be thinner at the top and wider along the bottom. This could be very much like a superhero. A big chin, the cleft in the middle, some rectangle hair at the top, and maybe here's another character with a lot of different rectangles coming up from the top corners, and that could be hair. But I'm always going to follow that shape at first. Now this is when I'm going to take some of those characters I did earlier and add much more detail. And now I'm going to think of those three shapes, the triangle, the circle, and the rectangle, to combine them all together to add more detail on one of those characters. And I really like that character that I did with the bow tie, so I'm going to put more detail in that. I'm going to redraw these shapes out, and for her bangs, I may give them a little bit more of an oval sort of shape. I'm going to make her neck a little bit more of a rectangle shape. I'm going to make her ears a little bit more of an oval shape, and get a little bit more detail within this character. Just by going in and out of these and changing the shape up a little bit, making her eyes a little more of an oval, but still keeping that personality, that frown that she had in the very beginning. I want to keep that there. Now, there are some shapes that work really well with different characters, and the triangle shape works really well with some specific character, meaning that if you take a look at this character and you see them as a cartoon, how are they going to act? How would they act like? And there are certain shapes that work best with certain character types, and I'll explain that in a future video. So when I get to the point of wanting to get more detail and outline of this character, of course use your Sharpie, outline any of these features, so when you erase all the dirty pencil lines, you get out with a nice clean drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up this drawing with some nice Sharpie, so I can get that clean detail in there, and I can erase any of those dirty lines. And then again, I come up with a nice clean drawing. Oops, I forgot to go back over some of the features, but that's fine. I can always go back over them with Sharpie again. Okay, so now you have a nice clean drawing, and you can move on to the next one. So now there's going to be another character I'm going to work on that I really liked, and it's going to be the one that has those rectangle shapes for the head. But I'm still going to think about combining the square, the circle, and the triangles together to add a little more detail to see what I can get. So now instead of thinking of a square nose, I'm thinking of more oval shapes for the ears, and also making some curved lines for that hairline that is at the very top of his head. Making the eyebrows a little more curved possibly. Again, if I want to change something, I can always go back and erase it and fix it. Your eraser is always your friend. So when I brought that hairline down, I brought the whole head down. That is a little bit more to what I want. So I'm making his nose a little bit curvier. I want to make his mustache probably a little more curvier rather than just a rectangle, and go back into probably the head and the hair to make it a little more curvier, and that's kind of combining the rectangle with the oval as well. So now I can add a lot more detail in this guy. Make some of that hair coming out, but always try to keep it within that idea of the shape of a rectangle. Add some lines within that shape to get this idea of hair, and make that detail within there to be what I like. So again, when I'm thinking about this character, I'm going to think about how this character acts as a cartoon. Like if I see him on his show, is he nice? Is he mean? Is he grumpy? Is he happy all the time? So this always comes down to what kind of shapes that you use and why you use the shapes that you use. But I'm not thinking about why, I'm just thinking about what looks good. I'll explain as to why you use certain shapes in a future video. So as I go back and I clean up my drawing, I'm going to turn out with a nice clean cartoon that I'm proud of at the very end of this process. So there is my character with the shape of squares and rectangles. Now, I would highly encourage anybody who is watching this video to do as many versions of characters using circles, squares, and rectangles as you want. This is about having fun, and this is your own character. So practice makes better, as I always say, and have fun creating your own portraits and creating your unique characters.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that content. If you did, please like and subscribe below and click that bell button for notifications on when new videos are going to be coming out. And also, I enjoy feedback. If you like these shorter segments when it comes to these drawings, then tell me in the comments below. And remember, during these times when you're at home and you're in this comfortable space drawing and being, creative, stay healthy, stay safe, keep on drawing, and just have fun.